guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, we are going to do a concealer version of the video that I did where I swatched all my foundations. Before we begin, please leave in the comment section below your favorite concealer. I am super curious to know which concealer is the top most used in our beauty community. So like in our little community of subscribers, I want to know which one is the top concealer. So leave your fave. I'm going to tally up all the responses, or even if you see that somebody posts or comments on your favorite, just give it a like and I'll see based on the likes or based on the comments, you know, which one wins. And then I'll let you guys know in a community post which one won. I thought this video was going to be quick because I thought that I had a minimal amount of concealers, but I am looking at them right here and I have 21 concealers to swatch for you guys. 21 concealers in front of me is a lot. So let's just get this video started. Let me take a sip of my coffee. I had a late start today when it came to coffee because usually it's the first thing I put in my system, but I decided to work out first and then reward myself with a concealer with a coffee. All right, hopefully that's close enough. And obviously I have nothing on my face, not even mascara or eyebrows, nothing. So I'm gonna be swatching them right around here, kind of like what I did with my foundations. The first one is the Found Full Coverage Concealer. This one is fairly new to me. I have been liking it, surprisingly, because it is in a stick form. But what I usually do is just kind of tap it with my finger and then apply it. So this is in the shade 330 Light Medium. And I should say that I am filming in front of my window. My ring light is not on and I have no other studio lights on. So this is hopefully the truest version of my skin tone. I like this concealer for brightening under the eye. I wouldn't use this for concealing pimples or anything like that. I think it's mainly for a brightening effect. All right, next is the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer. I have this one in two shades. The first one I'm gonna swatch is Amber number 385. And then I also have Toffee number 405. So this is Amber right here. We'll leave that one on, and then I'm just gonna swatch for you guys Toffee, which is what I like to use for any pimples or acne scars, stuff like that. I'll usually go in with this one. So this is Toffee, and then this is Amber. Next up is L'Oreal True Match. This one is a really nice shade for under the eye brightening. I don't have one that's darker, so this is the only one I have. This is in the color Light Medium Warm 4.5. The applicator sucks, so just bear with me. Honestly, any of these lighter concealers, if you guys have, like for example, I have this one, and if I want to use it for pimple correcting or for spot correcting, I would still probably use something like this. The only difference is since it's a little bit lighter, I would set with a powder that's more closer to my skin tone. So like a pigmented powder instead of a translucent powder. Next up is the NYX Born to Glow Concealer. This one I use under the eyes as well. Shade is True Beige, and I do use this for under the eye brightening. And if you guys notice, I don't go too light under the eye. I like to do 1 or 2 levels. And again, let's say you do have a concealer that's too light and you want to start maybe darkening it a little bit, then that's where you would get a pigmented powder to prevent it from looking too light. Because I think I do have maybe 1 or 2 concealers that still look a little too light, and that's what I usually do. I'll usually take, like for example, the Revlon Candid powder in the shade 2, or the Maybelline powder that's a little bit pigmented. I think the Maybelline Fit Me powder is also pigmented, and I'll use those just to kind of tone down the lightness. Next up is the AOA Studio Liquid Concealer in the shade Buff. I think this is one of the ones that is too light for me, and this one I was using for under the eye. Yeah. Ooh, wearing a white shirt today is not ideal. But yeah, see, this is way too light in my opinion for me. So if I were to use this, I would definitely set it with a darker powder just to level it out a little bit, because this is way too light for me. So next up is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer. This one is one of my favorite concealers. I don't know if it's just the color or the way the concealer looks. It's a very interesting color. It's in the shade Medium Tawny. I think it has a little bit of pink, but at the same time, I feel like it just works. I don't know what it is about this concealer, but I like the shade. I like the feeling of it. I feel like it lasts a good amount of time. And I think this shade is perfect to conceal and even sometimes just throw under the eyes. It looks pretty close to my skin color. Maybe that's why I like this concealer. So for me, this is sometimes even okay for under the eye. All right, next up is a concealer that I recently reviewed on my channel along with the foundation. I'll link the video above. If I have any of the videos where I talk about these concealers, I'll link them above because I'm really not going to talk about concealers here because this video would be super long. The shade Light 45W. This one might be another one where it was a little too light, as you can see. So I would definitely put a darker setting powder to level it down a little bit. Coverage is there though, look at that. I just took it off, but I meant to tell you guys it does oxidize a little bit, so it's not completely that light after it dries. All right, the next one is the CoverGirl, what is this? True Blend Undercover Concealer. This is a really nice concealer. The only thing is that I couldn't really find a shade that I was 100% convinced on. I think this shade is a little too orange in my opinion. This is the shade Golden Amber. I just have to keep looking. It's not a bad concealer. I just really have to keep looking for the correct shade if I really wanted to use it on an everyday basis. Great coverage, as you can see. All right, next up is the Revlon Candid Concealer. This concealer is one of my favorites. This one is in the shade Chestnut. I actually enjoy this concealer a lot. For under the eyes is what I mainly use it for. And it works really nice. Maybe at the end of the video, I'll show you guys what I mean by setting with something darker. All right, next up is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I know some of you guys wanted to see what shades I would pick up. This concealer is pretty hard to pick a shade from. I feel like a lot of the shades are either too orangey or too pinky in my opinion. Coffee break. So yeah, I ended up getting the shades Medium Peach and Medium Neutral. I think they're about the same level of lightness. Medium Peach might be a little lighter, which is naturally the one that I've been using for under the eye. And then this one I've been using to like conceal some scars or acne stuff. I was gonna do a video reviewing it, but it's not a concealer that really impressed me, and I really wanted to like it because I've been liking a lot of things that say hydrating, and it's a satin matte finish, so it's not like overdrawing or anything like that. But this concealer creased on my under eyes quicker than any other concealer that I've ever used, and for that reason I feel like it's not one of my favorites, but I'm still gonna swatch it for you guys. I have been using it for a week, and I feel like every time I do it, it creases. Most concealers crease on me, but this one creases faster than others. So this is the shade Medium Peach. And then this is the shade Medium Neutral. So Medium Peach just has a little bit more of a yellow undertone. And then this one has a little bit more of like an orangey, warmer undertone. It's funny, I would have named this Medium Peach and then this Medium Neutral. Just a thought, but this is Medium Peach and this is Medium Neutral. I'm gonna keep trying it and playing with it and we'll see, but for now, it's not a concealer that I am completely impressed with. All right, next up is the Conceal and Hydrate by Revolution. This one, I thought that the shade worked, but the more I use it lately, and maybe it's because I've been stuck at home, so I don't really have a tan. This one is in the shade C12. I feel like it's a little too dark and too pink for me. Here, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Again, I thought maybe I might have had a tan when I started using this, but it's so pink that it just does not work for me at all. I do want to, however, look for a correct shade because I do enjoy using this concealer. Like, this concealer is similar to the Revlon Candid Concealer in the way that it feels very moisturizing, but it doesn't crease. It has great coverage. So maybe I should look for another shade in this because I actually do enjoy wearing this concealer. Next up is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade Sand. I like this concealer, but the only thing is that this is one of the lightest coverage concealers that I have. It's not full coverage at all in my opinion, but I don't mind that. So if you guys are looking for a full coverage, maybe you won't like it, but I don't mind it at all. I think this is a really nice shade to highlight under the eye without being too light. And the tone of it is perfect in my opinion. So this is in the shade Sand. Next up is the Maybelline Superstay Concealer. I don't know if they still make this concealer, but I'm going to still swatch it for you guys. This one is in the shade Caramel. And again, I think this is a little too dark, a little too orange for me. So I haven't really used it. Oh my god. I haven't really used it at all since I bought it. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe with a tan I can get away with it. But yeah, that is the Maybelline Superstay in the shade Caramel. Alright, next up is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind in the shade Golden. They do have a lot more shades than when they started, and this is a really good concealer. I actually forgot that I had this. Let's see if anything comes out. It's been a while since I've used it. So it almost looks like the Maybelline one that I had just swatched. So yeah, hopefully that swatch helps you guys out. This is in the shade Golden. Again, a little too orange for me right now, a little too dark. The next one that I have is not really a concealer. I mean, I use it for under the eyes and I love it. This is a corrector in the shade Light to Medium Peach by Bobbi Brown. Sometimes I use this alone under the eyes and that's all I need. Here, I'll show you guys because maybe it's one of those days where I just don't even want to fuss too much with my makeup. So I'm going to do it right here. You see all this darkness that I have? Correctors will usually like kind of cancel that out, and then you'll find yourself not using a lot of concealer. So I wanted to share with you guys this little trick. And then just blend it out. And you could even bring it up here because sometimes we'll have those shadows up there. And you would set this, I hope you guys can see the difference. You would still set this with a translucent powder. Obviously, I wouldn't do anything darker because I think this is doing a really good job of brightening, concealing, everything. All right, last but not least, I wanted to leave these for the end because they are high-end. So if you guys are not interested in high-end concealers, then you guys can click out of this video. Thank you guys for watching. But for those of you guys that are interested, these are the Jouer Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealers. One of my favorite concealers. I do love both shades. And it is a really, really nice concealer. It has hyaluronic acid. It's a soft matte. It doesn't crease on me as much as other concealers. So I think, in my opinion, it's really worth the money. I'm going to swatch for you guys the shade Honey, which is what I use under the eyes. And then the shade Dulce de Leche is what I use to conceal pimples and stuff like that. And they are both really good shades. So this one is in the shade Honey. Honey, 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 honey. To me, this is like the perfect under the eye shade. Not too light, not too dark. That's the shade Honey. And then this shade Dulce de Leche is what I use to conceal any pimples, anything like that on my skin. And I actually have a video using this concealer to cover my pimples. So I'm going to link it up above so you guys can watch it if you guys do suffer from acne, which I have a lot of acne on my forehead right now. Don't know where all that is coming from. But this concealer does a great job of covering the acne. It does look a little dark right now, but again, I just use it for spot concealing. I don't use it all over my face, and I think it's like the perfect shade to cover any acne. So this is Dulce de Leche, and then this is Honey. I almost forgot that I was going to show you guys what it will look like if you had a light concealer and want to make it darker. So I'm going to take the ColourPop in the shade Light 45W, which is a tiny too light, and I'm going to apply it underneath the eye, and then I'm going to blend it out. So if I wanted to go a little bit darker with it, I would get the Revlon Candid in the shade number 2, which is a little pigmented. I would show you guys, but this powder is just super messy to begin with. So just tap off the excess. And then I would just put that all over. And see, you still have a concealed eye. It looks brighter than this one, but it's not as light as what we started with. So that's what I'm talking about. If you guys do have a light concealer and do want to start maybe toning it down a little bit, start with that. Don't completely throw it away. You can still use it as long as you have a powder that's a little bit pigmented so that you guys can darken it. And don't forget, before you guys leave, put in the comment section below what your favorite concealer is so that I know to tally them up and see which one wins.